one day, all those years I lived in Phoenix, something didn't go right for me, and it was a very, very tough time. And I jumped out of the car and I held my fist up to him. I was all on my own. I said, man, when are you ever going to turn the tide for me? Come on, you've got to do your bit, you know. And I railed at God. I got in the car, and of course, instantly I felt guilty. I shouldn't have done it. And I got home and I went on my knees and I said to him, Lord, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have got angry. And I said to him, just this thought came in my mind, how do you see me? And he opened my mind, and I saw a little baby in a diaper inside a playpen screaming. And he said to me, that's how I see you. You're like a little screaming child. And I couldn't believe it. And when I'd lost my control that day, he saw me as a screaming little child. And to me that was a very telling thing, because I'm not anybody else. I get caught up in my own thing. But I took from that the absolute conviction and witness and confirmation that he loved me. See, I took it differently. People would say, oh, he sees me as a little kid, oh, you know. But I knew, one, he loved me. One, he still talked to me. One, he was still keeping I still had the relationship with him. And the last but not least, he was still trying to work with me. Even when I was sort of nearly going off the deep end. And not a long time after that, I used to run every day before I got a couple of hip injury and a knee injury. I used to run all my life. Africa, wherever I lived, I always run 5 miles a day, 6 miles a day, 7 days a week. Drove my wife mad. And one day I was running, and most runners don't like to stop running when they're running. And I was about 4 miles coming home in a good rhythm. And I saw this little, in English we call it little dicky bird, you know, a little bird. And I thought it was alive. It was like moving. And as I could see it, it was about 20 yards away from me, I could just see it. And the Lord said to me, stop and look at that bird. And I looked away and say, oh yeah, I didn't hear you. And as I got a bit nearer, he said, stop and look at that bird. And as I got level with it, he said it a little bit louder. He said, I said, stop and go back and stop and look at that dicky bird. And he was speaking to me in an English way that I would know. I went past, and he said it in such a tone. He said, I said, stop, go back and look at that dicky bird. So I stopped, because a runner doesn't want to stop. I walked back to 10, 15 yards. I looked down and the bird was dead. It was moving because little ants were crawling over it. And this is what he said to me. I want you to know that I know that that dicky bird is dead. And I stopped and I was transfixed. I want you to know that I know, God, that little dicky bird is dead. And I trotted home, I didn't run home. And I got on my knees and I remember praying to him and thanking him for telling me that. Because what he was really telling me was, I know, Stu, who you are.